KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
I'm Glenn the Geek from Horses in the Morning.
And I'm Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur.
And you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for April the 29th, episode 2923. This episode is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. Good morning, Horse World. We have something a little different for you today. For 2 years, I think, I've been talking to Scott about doing a show together because Scott also has a podcast. And we said we should do a joint show together sometime and then put it out on both feeds. And that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. I'm so glad we're doing it. You know, I appreciate the invite for sure.
You know, and part of it was that anytime you've been on the show as a guest, we just had a great time. And
I just laughed the whole time. So I don't know what value I bring besides laughing, but I love it.
So tell my listeners about your show, and then I'll tell them a little bit about your listeners about my show.
That sounds great. So we have a little bit more than 60 of our shows recorded. Nowhere near your number yet, but because you're in a class of your own. But it's a lifestyle show. It's kind of where the crossroads of the horse world and the business world intersect. And talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of Hall of Famers, and business people, and people that just love horses. And that's kind of where it started.
And have you always considered yourself an entrepreneur?
Yes. Ever since I was a kid. You know, I remember training the neighbors' horses when I was, young, very young. And, I loved it. I loved every part of the business. So
and still do, apparently.
Oh, I love it so much. Yeah, I can't wait to wake up in the morning to get to work. You know, it's such a great feeling.
Now, you have kids. How many kids do you have?
I have one daughter, and she's 17, and she, a funny story. So she grew up at the barn, and she's a singer now, but, and she can still ride like crazy, but she grew up at the barn, and we had a horse walker, still have, horse walker, and we hung her baby swing from it. She'd go around the walker with the horses, and it was like her mini redneck Six Flags, and, but it was the only way I could stay close to her because I was always down there riding. And I'd ride a horse and cool him off on the walker and say hi to the baby girl and get another horse. And
she'd still be going around.
She'd go around and she'd say, "Faster, Daddy," and I'll go backwards.
She's a singer. Did she get the horse bug or not?
She loves them. She's great with them, but she's more on the stage than she is in a saddle now. But she's got a talent. When she was younger, I always would put her in the videos of the horses that we were selling. She's like, "Daddy, I figured out why you have me doing this." It's like, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm young and you want everybody to know how kid-friendly they are."
That's true. And that's why you do it.
So I cut her in 10% and we went down the road.
How many auctions have we been to with little kids riding horses?
Man, I'm telling you.
You know, who's really good at that? I grew up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Who's really good at that is the Amish auctions. When you go to the Amish auctions, you'll see the little 3-year-olds sitting up there, no saddle or nothing, riding the horses.
Oh, I want to do that. I want to buy that horse. I'll take it home. It's not the same.
Exactly. Now, do you have a recording of her? I could play a little bit of her on the show today.
I'll have to get one. I sure will. Let me get one. I'll get one. Yeah, we're working on her first demo album now. It's pretty fun. Yeah, she just grew up on the stage and loves it. She's done over 30 live theater shows and yeah.
Well, and I was a performer. You know, I owned an acting company for 10 years.
Did you really? Oh
yeah,
my goodness!
Actually,
so
we're doing video.
Or?
Right behind me there is us. Okay. We did medieval feasts. So we did 450 shows at a castle in Pennsylvania.
Oh my goodness. That had to be taxing on you, didn't it? Because that's a lot of shows.
Yeah, it was a lot of shows. I played the king, so I was also the director. So it worked out that we did improvisational theater. So it was a lot of fun. I do miss, you know, what you and I do, we get feedback, but it's not immediate feedback.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
So I do miss being on stage. Like she gets that immediate feedback and people love it or hate it. Right? So
yeah,
it's one or the other. But you don't hear people laugh or clap or, you know, doing what we do. I do kind of miss that.
Yeah, I bet you, would you ever go back and get on stage?
I think if the opportunity came up, I do that a little bit when I do speaking at conferences and things, you know, you get, and we teach at some of the podcasting conferences, we teach improv. And we teach it because we believe that if you learn the fundamental basics of improv, you become a better interviewer.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It does. You know, I like being on stage speaking because you do hear that. But I think the improv part, like what you're saying, is so important because you never know where it's going to go.
You do it all the time when you're training horses.
Absolutely. Yeah, they tell me. They absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I might go in with a certain plan, and by the end of the lesson, it's a totally different deal. So. And
you have to listen to them. If you don't, it's not going well.
It's not going well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool.
So where can they find the podcast on any podcast player? I assume just search for Cowboy Entrepreneur.
Cowboy Entrepreneur, and they'll find us. Any podcast player. We're on the everyone. So
good. Cool.
Also they can find us on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram on Cowboy Entrepreneur and follow us and see what we're doing. And we'll always put up different things. Working on the tractor. Driving, putting out hay or riding a horse and kind of in between the shows. So. But we love the lifestyle. We love the people. We love the interaction when somebody actually messages us or something on Facebook or Instagram. We always respond pretty quick, because if they took time to message us, I want to make sure we respond in a timely manner. And
by the way, that accent is real. He lives in Texas. So,
I do, man. South Central Texas, and half the words no one understands, but I'm probably saying them wrong anyway. So
see, I'm a fake cowboy. Scott's a real cowboy.
So I don't know, man. If you got a horse, you're going good right there. Right there. What about your show though? You got a milestone coming up in August.
Yeah, we've been Horses in the Morning it's the only daily show for the horse world. We've been doing it since 2010. So we're 12 years and we're hitting 3,000 episodes in August. And I've been asking around a lot of my podcasting friends, and it looks like we're the longest running independent podcast of all podcasts. Awesome. So there's a couple of corporate NPR and some of those that have hit 3,000 episodes, but we think we're the longest running independent one, that first one to hit 3,000 episodes. So that's coming up in August. We're very excited. I'll be going to Oklahoma and Texas actually to celebrate that. So,
oh man, congratulations! So, what are you going to do for the 3,000 show? Because that's
I'm going to head out to my co-host in Oklahoma. I've had the same co-host since the beginning, since day one, which is unheard of too.
Yes, it is.
That's unheard of for co-hosts to stay together. And Jamie and I, we know each other so well now because we've done 3,000 episodes together. But we're going to go out to her farm. She's in Oklahoma, Norman. And cool. We haven't seen her new farm out there yet. So we're going to go do that and see a little bit of Oklahoma and then head down to Texas for a little while. So we're very excited about that. And we always involve the listeners. So we'll get a bunch of voicemails that we'll play and, they'll definitely be involved in that episode. That'll be a milestone for sure.
That's great. So how do you do it every day? Every day. Ours is once a week, and there's.
Well, it's full time. I mean, we've been full time for a long time. That helps. It's our job. Right. It's our job. We make a living doing it. And I get up in the morning. I probably spend 2-3 hours, sometimes 4 with show prep for that morning.
Wow.
And then we record the show about 10 o'clock. And then we spend about 2 hours together. And then the show goes out to editors and it's out by 1 o'clock. So it's out the same day. We record it as live. So we do it like we're live. The guests are all in order and we try not to stop and take breaks or anything like that. We go like we're live. We did it live for years. It's a lot of work. We have somebody else that books the guests. We have an editor that puts the show out at the end of, when we're done recording. So it takes a team, it takes a group to do that. My wife booked, because we can do 5 to 10 guests in a week.
Wow.
Well, you know what that's like. Booking guests is a nightmare.
It's tough. And I was a guest on your show, and it was so smooth, though, the whole process. It was your whole team is just so professional. It made it so easy.
Well, after 3,000 episodes, we better be good at it.
You got to be somewhat polished.
We do, people. I always say when I'm teaching these classes, preparation is what makes you sound like you're doing it off the cuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Preparation makes your show sound natural and like it's not really well prepared. Yet you saw my notes today. We have everything in order. We know when the commercials are coming. Speaking of which, we have one coming up. But we know when the commercials are coming. We know when the guests are coming in. We know what times that all has to happen at. So we do prepare for these shows, even though it sounds like we're just speaking off the cuff.
Right.
We don't have a script, but we do know what we're going to do when. And I think that's what makes it sound professional, is preparation, for sure.
But it's such a fine line that you're so prepared and all that prep work, but it's so conversational. And it looks effortless, but there's so much work behind it, so
Isn't that true of training horses?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's all that groundwork and the preparation before you get on them the first time. And then it's all the walking and the walking and the walking and then the trotting and then you get to the point where you're actually doing something with them. But without that groundwork, it's the same thing when you think about it.
Absolutely. Steps on the ladder. Yeah.
Yeah. And the show has bucked us off a few times over the years too. So.
Oh boy, I can relate. Yeah.
Technology will do that.
Yeah. It'll humble you quick, won't it?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, so you had somebody helping put this together today.
Yes.
And tell us who that was.
Elizabeth McCall. First off, she's a dear friend of mine, but she's our publicist. She's our media consultant, and she's really helped so much in connecting us and putting the show together. And she's just a great person.
But she kind of played a trick on us today when you really think about it. We have these two old cowboys.
Yes, yes.
She put the guests together today. So these two old cowboys, guess what we're going to be talking about today? Breyer horses.
Yeah.
You and I together.
Yeah. I love it. And it was so good though, it was, yeah. I don't even know what to say, but I love what they do for our industry for sure. It's great. And some of my fondest memories were buying those horses with my daughter for sure. But
how many had broken legs, by the way? They always seem to have a couple of
probably all of them. I'd say the majority of them, being out here on the ranch, we duct taped them up and then once my daughter Haley, she understood what horse tape is. We'd bring the horse tape. Some would have the green tape and the pink tape for the girls, and made it authentic.
Well, we have speaking of Stephanie, we have Stephanie from Breyer's joining us, and she's like the big boss over there. Yes. And she's going to be joining us along with Jamie, who's the senior events manager. And we're going to be talking about BreyerFest this year because they've done it virtually the last couple of years. And this year they're doing it both virtually and in person at the Kentucky Horse Park. And I've been fortunate enough to go to that. We did a show there a long time ago. Also, we have one of their model artists who did the sculptures, and her name is Kylee Parks, and she's going to tell us what it's like to sculpt a Breyer and how all that works. So we're going to learn about Breyers today, and then also you and I are going to hang around and talk some more too about whatever. We haven't even decided that. See, that was lack of prep right there.
That is off the cuff. Yeah.
But you and I, we don't need to have prep for that.
No.
Let's take a break for our sponsor, and we'll be right back with Stephanie and Jamie and also Kylee.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups. Any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today.
Well, Jamie and Stephanie, it's good to see you. Stephanie, it's been a long time. I'm so happy to see you again.
It's wonderful to be here.
Yes. Breyer, I'll tell you what, I own Breyers. I want to just point that out here for especially all of my listeners. I own Mary Phelps's little gangster ponies right here. I'm showing them on the video. I own the little gangster ponies, and they're the cutest things ever. So I'm so I actually got them from her, and I think they're signed on here somewhere. So they have her signature on them.
Well, if they're not signed, you can go see them on May 21st at WEC at the World Equestrian Center. She's going to be doing a driving demonstration, and all 4 ponies will be there, so you can get your box signed.
Oh, there you go.
That's cool. That's cool.
That is
so
a popular
well
set of ours with Tony DePony and Bugsy Maloney.
Bugsy
They're just
Maloney,
so cute.
yeah.
Kids love them.
Love that. Love that. I
There's
used
a
to get them for my
beautiful farm
daughter,
here.
but they never stayed in the box. They were all over the place, but that was great. That was
And were the
fun.
legs broken
you
off?
should see my floor of my office. It doesn't stop as you go up.
Love it.
Nope.
So you guys, I mean, we did BreyerFest. We actually did a show from BreyerFest, and Stephanie probably remembers this, but it was in 2012. It's 10 years ago already.
That is so hard to believe. I mean, time just goes by so fast. And then even most recently, of course, with COVID, we had to switch to a virtual format. And it's hard to believe that was 2 years. And now we're back in Kentucky for what we're calling a hybrid event, which is a full on-site BreyerFest. And then we'll have a whole virtual event happening at the same time, being broadcast live from the park.
And
cool.
when is it? What are the dates, Stephanie?
It's July 15th through the 17th, right, Jamie? And it is at the Kentucky Horse Park in Lexington. And so we'll have basically hundreds of live horses, lots of demos going on. We're going to have a big trade show for shopping. There's going to be workshops and seminars. In fact, Kylee will be teaching a workshop.
Awesome.
We have stablemates painting and a whole variety of activities, including model horse showing, which is a thing. You can win ribbons and trophies even with your model horses. So something for everyone. We try to build it as a real family festival.
Amy, your fans they're not just fans, they're rabid fans. If we
They're
had
very
them tested,
passionate.
they would test positive. Let's be honest. They are. And my wife actually used to, when we had our tack shop, she used to paint. She used to get the blanks or whatever they're called, and she used to paint them and sell them at the tack shop.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I was very familiar with Breyer from I married into it, basically.
Very good.
How that
Very
worked.
good. Yeah, our fans are fantastic. I mean, they operate so well in sort of the online world. So virtual was actually really interesting to do and host that way. But they're so looking forward to getting back to Kentucky and being together as a community, and really having that back together feeling that we're all so desperately missing. So we're all really, really excited to be back in Kentucky.
Scott, they always have like a headliner. By the way, guys, I met, and she's a good friend of ours now, and she's been on our show 100 times, is Templeton Thompson because of Briarfest.
Yeah.
That's how we met 12 years ago, because she had she went there and sang, and that's how we met. It was all those years ago. So, is there a big headliner? Who are the people coming in that are on the poster?
Yeah, so we have every year we have a celebration horse that's sort of like our homecoming king or queen. This year we have a German riding pony by the name of Nicholas, and Stephanie, I believe, has his model there.
Yes, for those who are watching, here is our beautiful buckskin German riding pony, Nicholas.
He's a brand new sculpt, and it was actually done by a German artist, Brigitte Eberl, and she'll be at the event, so it'll be really exciting to have the pony there and the sculptor, so people can get their autographs signed and meet Nicholas. They call him Nico. And his barn mate is actually also a Breyer, Avatar's Jazzman. So his owner his trainer has both of them coming this year. Be really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Scott, your kids had Breyers?
Yes, they do. Yeah, my daughter loves it. Ever since she grew up, every time any place they sold Breyers, we were getting a Breyer. It didn't matter. And she loved, I don't know if we had more horses in the barn or in the closet, but we had them everywhere. It's so much fun. So what do you see as far as the people that go to Breyer or that buy Breyer horses? Do they have actual horses, or is Breyer their way to the horse world?
It's a big mix. I mean, Stephanie, I'm sure would agree. We have, at least at Briarfest specifically, there's at least 50% of our crowd just loves Breyer and loves horses, and maybe they can't ride as a kid, or they didn't have the means to get, or they don't have access. And Breyer's their way to be involved in the horse world and have that equestrian connection. And then coming to Briarfest kind of brings it full circle for them. And then the other half are, quote, real horse people, and they have that experience and, have the access to horses. But we really love that all of our fans have kind of both sides, and we get to talk to all kinds of different people that just love horses and, want to be involved in some way.
I love it. And Stephanie and I were talking about it. It's such a great way to get people involved in the industry and bring them into the industry and learn about the industry.
Yeah, we've found that a lot. Sorry, Steph. We found that a lot with our virtual format, and going into this hybrid format for Briarfest. So many people that can't make it to Kentucky or haven't been able to make it to Kentucky were able to join us online, and same will hold true for this year. So the reach of Briarfest has grown so much, and Breyer in general, because of the last 2 years and how much we've been able to do virtually. It's been a really cool way of bringing more people into the industry.
Scott's right too. One of the things when we talk to people and we talk to representatives from the various associations, Scott, you probably are the same thing. The biggest complaint they have, every horse association, every breed association, every sport association, it's youngsters coming in. They have less and less of them, and their membership is aging out. So they're decreasing membership. And it is a big concern. It's something that everybody's concerned about. So you guys are actually one of the groups that's really helping bring the excitement with kids, and hoping that they go from this. I'm holding up my Bugsy Maloney, and then go out and get a real pony. That's what we're hoping. As an industry, we need that. Yeah,
that's exactly it. And one of the cool things about Briarfest as well, and Jamie, you could talk to the variety of all the different breeds that we represent, and some of our special guests this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have everyone from Blue Roan Clydesdales, we have Morgans, we have Welsh ponies coming, we have a Frisian Appaloosa, Danny, who is our celebration horse from 2021, is joining us on site. She's this big, beautiful spotted wonder. She's awesome. We have Icelandics. The Blue Roan Clydesdales are bringing a baby, which is very fun.
Oh, cool.
Fuzzy blue baby, which will be really, really cute. Kylie's got at least one baby at home. So, yeah, we try and represent. We have a huge saddlebred group coming. So we try and really have all of the breeds represented as best we can. Obviously, this year being Germany, we have a small focus on some interesting German breeds. Black Forest horse is coming with a Black Forest horse stallion. There's only, I think, 2 stallions in the country. I think there's only 24 or 25 Black Forest horses in the country at all, between Canada and the US, actually. So he'll be there. We have, oh gosh, we've got so many. We just try and represent as many breeds as we possibly can.
Love that. I love that. I love how you did twice the amount of work this year too, doing a hybrid event for the fans that can't always go. And I think you said, Stephanie, before that it's more countries we're able to join. Like, isn't that great that they
we were astonished, Scott, when we had over 125 countries participating. And I remember looking online and saying, there's someone who's active and they're from a little, island called Reunion. Where is that? And who is this person? And they're spending, a couple hours a day at Briarfest. So it was really fun to see the participation. And that is the one thing, the feedback that we received, because we do a post-event survey. And so many of the fans were so excited to learn all the different aspects of not only Briarfest, but the activities, the workshops, the seminars, the different breed demonstrations that Jamie and her team put together. We had our live broadcast. So they were able to participate in that. They were able to participate in our charity auction and really feel like they attended Briarfest. And so we got a lot of great feedback that, please make sure you have this availability for us in the future. So that's what we're looking to do.
As a business decision, that was a wise decision with inflation and the cost of travel right now. It was a wise decision to do that. It turned out it was, a doubly good decision. Hey, yesterday on the show, we had some pin hookers on. And Scott, I finally understand now what a pin hooker is after, all of these years of talking about them. I think I got a good idea now. But they both were at the sale here in Ocala, and they both had $1 million horses sell. One of them was bought for $200,000, sold it 6 months later for $1.3 million. So that wasn't bad. But then I did hear last year you had was it last year you had the auction where one of them sold for like $20,000, one of the Breyers? They bring crazy money.
Our auction last year had, I think, 5 or 6 horses that went for $17,000 or $18,000.
Whoa.
Each.
Each. Yeah.
It is amazing. But, the investment, really, if you think about it, you have no vet bills. You don't have to, you have no shavings or hay that you're buying. You don't have to worry about.
These ponies have been a lot less expensive than my real pony. That is for sure.
I know, no farrier. So come on, you can have as many as you'd like. And quite frankly, $17,000 and $22,000 is a bargain in comparison. The lifetime value.
Said very well by a true pure blood Breyer employee for the last. You've been there forever since I've known you. Yeah.
He bleeds blue and yellow.
Oh, beautiful. This is Chablis, one of our the German horses that'll be at Briarfest. But whether it's that size or if you want a little Black Forest pony, I mean, we can have all the different colors, all the different breeds. I've got over here one of the Mustangs that'll be one of our Briarfest horses, but he's got a German name, Stein.
A bit.
Just holding up a few of our models that'll be at Briarfest, but no, it's true.
All right.
I have to show our fun little guys here. So these are three little bear horses. Cubs. Yeah, they're Breyer models. They're not exactly horses. They're little bears. So in our nod to gummy bears, which is a popular German candy and obviously very popular everywhere. But they're actually scented. So the red one smells like raspberry, and the green one smells like strawberry, which is very fun. My office here smells divine, and then the yellow friend smells like lemon. But they're not overpowering. Like, I have them on my table and I have to really get close to smell them. But they're super fun and really cute. Every year for Briarfest we have
they're not edible, right?
That's a non-horse. So we did our gummy bears.
And they're not edible, right?
No, they're collectibles.
Just checking.
So back in the 50s, Breyer started off as Breyer Animal Creation. So we had actually a lot of livestock and North American wildlife. And so the bears, we don't really produce very often, but with the German theme and the, you know, German candy, we said, let's try to replicate that. And actually our fans are really excited because it's going to be certainly a very rare bear for them.
Well, before we let you two go, I wanted to ask you two things. One, where do people find out about how to go to BreyerFest, either virtually or in person?
Everything is on BreyerHorses.com. There's a whole events tab at the top, and we've got tons of pages all about BreyerFest, where to buy your tickets, all about the models, all about the horses that are coming. There's also a first-time guide. If you're new to BreyerFest and want to learn all about it, it gives you everything from where to stay to how to get there, what to do on site. It's a whole kind of guide to the event.
And one of your sculptors is coming up next. She's been patiently waiting here. Kylee is here, and she's going to be there. You're doing I think she's doing a demonstration. How do you pick who sculpts a horse? How is that chosen?
Great question.
Wow, it is a great question. What is interesting is we have a variety of different sculptors, and what is so fun is that Breyer originally started with Chris Hess, who's both the engineer and mold maker for all of our injection molded tools, but he also was the sculptor. So what was fascinating about him is he knew both the three-dimensional creation of the model, but then also sort of the opposite in the creation of the tooling. He passed away in the 80s, and Breyer actually struggled quite a bit in finding artists who had the same capability and vision and ability, because bronze sculptors actually can be very stylistic. What's interesting is that we have a lot of sculptors who came up through the ranks of customizing their Breyer horses as kids, and then honing their craft, and then getting so incredibly skilled that I would say a vast majority of our sculptors that we work with started off that way and have incredible talent and such a passion for creating these sculptures that it shows. Like, it absolutely shows, and the horses are imbued with such personality, spirit, and character that for us here, we're just so excited to work with sculptors like Kylee that just are super talented but super passionate about what they do. And so it's really fun. It's been a bit of a collaboration of us reaching out and also artists reaching into us and making proposals and saying, hey, you know, I think you need this particular breed in your line, or I've taken a shot at this, and, you know, can we talk about doing something together? And so it's been a lot of research on our part, but then also a lot of people who've come to us. So it's been really exciting to see the blossoming, really, of the talent that we've been able to work with such great people.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
So we have Kylee Park. She is a sculptor for Breyer horses. So Kylee, welcome to Glenn's show and my show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and get to be with Stephanie. I mean, childhood dreams.
Absolutely. So what started this? So I know you're in the horse business. You're watching out the window for baby horses anytime some foals come in. But so what started from that to being a sculptor for Breyer?
I mean, horses are just at the core of who I am. My mom was a horse trainer and a single mom. I grew up at the barn. And, you know, when I wasn't on my horses, I was at home drawing them, pushing them around in clay. I mean, art and horses are just part of who I am. And obviously, when I wasn't able to be with the horses, I had my carpet herd of Breyers. And every year at Christmas, I had Breyers I wanted. Do not give me Barbies. I want Breyers only. So, I mean, since I was small, this is who I am.
I love it. And you tracked across the country to go to your first BreyerFest. Like, you were young, right?
Yeah. California girl, and I made my stepmother actually fly me out to Kentucky when I was probably 10 or 11. And that was it. That was no going back for me. It was just an absolute immersion in everything that was part of my youth. And I mean, it was heaven, just absolute heaven. There's plastic horses. I couldn't get enough. There's no going back.
No. So I love carpet herd. You just messed me up with that, but that's so true. That's exactly what it is. Oh my goodness. So you messed me up. So what was your favorite sculpture? What was your favorite horse, your first opportunity?
Model horse wise, I was always drawn to like the mare and foal sets. You know, if I can get a mom, a baby, and a dad, it was like, woof, just that is right up my alley. My first one was a pony. I think it was like the Shetland pony with the flaxen mane and tail.
Awesome.
And yeah, I could not get enough of them. I mean, when I moved into my house here, and my husband was like, what is with these dozen Tupperware boxes? I'm like, oh, this is my model horse collection. Okay, just there's 500 in here. They're very precious to me. Just make space. This is important.
So was it like Stephanie said, where you went from painting them and, you know, accessorizing them and everything, and then eventually you became a sculptor?
It was very much that way. I mean, yes, the customizing of them was just a wonderful gateway drug. You know, you have the general shape, and then you can get creative, you know, as simple as a new mane and tail or a new color on them. It doesn't have to be that overwhelming to think of starting a new sculpture. I mean, can be very daunting to most, but just to be handed an already lovely piece and you can make it your own is just such a wonderful place for artists to dip their feet in and not get too scared off, because it is a really intimidating thing to now creating realistic model horses.
Do you do it in clay? I mean, is it done in clay like a regular sculpture would be done? Is it?
Yeah, most of mine are done in like an oil-based clay, much like other fine art would be. But some people also just go straight from like an armature and a part A, part B epoxy, where you're limited time frame of an hour working time with this clay. I mean, there's many approaches to this process, but somehow we all end up in a very similar place with a realistic looking horse.
And they go out and oh, I'm sorry, Glenn.
I was just going to say, to follow that up, and they take that and make a mold out of it. Then they take that, you send it to them, and they take that, and that's where the mold comes from.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you look at pictures of what you're about to do, like the breed, or do you go visit and see the horse on, you know, on the hoof and just say, okay, that's what he looks like in real life?
It's a combination of both. If I have access to that breed, you know, I certainly will do my best to go and do as much research as possible. But the internet is a beautiful place, and honestly, you can get almost videos of the breeds you want us to see. The imagery, I mean, with the high quality photos nowadays, if you don't have access to a real horse, it is not a limitation. Absolutely, people who live in the city and are creating some incredible pieces. So the internet has connected us and made our jobs a lot easier.
I love it.
Troubadour is a Morgan horse. That's one that you did, but that's not after a specific horse. That was more about the breed, right?
Yes. Okay. Breyer reached out to me and wanted, you know, an old time style Morgan, and to be able to create such an iconic Americana piece, the American Morgan, was such an honor. And it wasn't after a specific breed, but we had discussed a pose that I think worked out really well. He can wear saddles and, you know, just absolutely has that heavy bodied classic Morgan build that we all remember as a kid in the book. and everything.
And people, forget that in the carriage times, Morgans were one of the most prevalent breeds in the late 1800s, early 1900s, because they used them for riding and driving. And being a carriage driver, I know all this stuff, but they were perfect for that. I mean, that's what they were built for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I hope to create that versatility in this piece. Both, he can wear a harness, he can wear tacked up, just be in hand, all the important things, cover all our bases, just like the versatile Morgan.
Mm. And Stephanie, in the video here, you have it, right?
I do. I have the packaging right here of Troubadour. And the back of the package shows Kylee with her sculpture, as well as some of the sketches and early clay. So it tells the story of how this horse came to life. And then also I have the real model right here in this beautiful dappled splash pinto pattern, which is just stunning. He's just, this is the kind of horse you definitely would want in your barn.
That brings up a question. Does the sculptor then do the paint, decide on the paint color?
Yes,
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yes, I got to do the paint work on that, and it was so fun to, think of something out of the box. I mean, I hope Stephanie will go into a little bit more detail as to how the Premier Club's colors are selected, as far as, really challenging our overseas painters to create something really special for that first model. But yeah, I loved trying to figure out something that hadn't been done and make it my own, but that also would really convey the, bring life to the sculpture and make collectors happy. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
How many, Stephanie, I have to go back to you because I have a question I've never asked you in all these years, is how many can you produce different Breyers? I don't care, just total Breyers in a day. Like in the factory, how many can be produced?
Wow, that is a good question. Because of course we have everything from, our smallest stable mates, as I'm showing here, which is about, this one's about 2 inches tall. And then 2 are 1/9 scale traditional models. It's, many thousands. I've not actually, I don't have that information, but I know it's many, many thousands. And it depends, of course, what time of year it is. And if we're gearing up for fourth quarter, as you can imagine, during the holiday season, that is our peak season. Although
and Briarfest.
With Briarfest, yeah.
Scott, it is absolutely crazy at Briarfest. They're lined
I'd love
up.
to go.
They're lined up for a half a mile.
You need to both come.
They're lined up for half a mile that first day to go buy the Breyers at the Breyer booth. And the Breyer booth's huge. And then they're just lined up. I mean, they're just lined up because they all want the latest one. And there's only so many. You guys do a good job of that too. There's only so many, and they go crazy. It's just, you will never see anything like it again.
In 2019, we normally open Friday morning. That's when the gates open. And in 2019, people started lining up on Wednesday.
There you go.
So well, that's just a testament to what you do, though. I mean, that's a compliment. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I used the term rabbit. I meant rabbit. That's what.
So Glenn, if you're coming, you got to get there on Tuesday.
I know. Apparently.
Bring the RV. They just stay out in the parking lot.
Right there. Well, Kylee, what kind of real horses do you have? I know you're waiting on a baby.
Yes, I have one more baby coming, but I have a Shire mare, and
I love it.
Yes, and I have a Frisian, and then my colt that was just born is actually a drum horse. So he's out of my Shire mare, and he's by a Vanner. So the stocky little cobs, and so the drum horse is usually the combination of those two, Shire and or Clydesdale, and they were developed in England to carry the drums through the parades for the Queen. So they get the size and temperament of the giraffes, but the fun colors that the Vanners come in, and the hair, obviously I like hair.
And the drums, there's not a lot of drums around, actually.
No, and the most amazing part of it is really, I think, my first introduction to the drum horse and really most of the horses that I have was because of Breyer horses and BreyerFest. Around here where I am, I'm exposed to Arabians and sport horses, but because of the deep internet dives I've done through the model horse hobby, it exposed me to the horses that I now have and love.
Well, you can send Stephanie the feed bill for that Shire, because that ain't cheap.
He's actually the keeper of all of them. She can look at food and stay perfectly awesome condition.
Oh my.
Yes, it's really a testament to the model horse hobby, because, most times if you're a breed person through the real horse world, I'm a stock horse person, you stay in your lane. But with the model horses, I mean, your model horse collection is infinite in breeds. And when you have to give them breed assignments or research what this color comes in, what color it might come in, I mean, the knowledge that you gain through the model horses is amazing. And again, it's how I have these horses, how I decided to have all these weird crosses and stuff is cool because of research. It's crazy.
Well, for the Horses in the Morning show, I'm going to use Troubadour as our picture for this episode, so everybody will be able to see Troubadour, the one we were just talking about. Thank you thank you all for joining us and talking about Breyers and the crazy world that it is. But we're happy it is, because it is bringing more and more people into the horse world, like Kylee, who ends up owning a Shire of all things. Yeah, I was a Percheron guy, so I had Percherons. So I'm used to feeding the big ones and also cleaning the feet of, that are like pie plates. Yeah.
Nice.
Challenge. We'll completely agree with that.
And they weigh about 40 pounds each. So that's always fun too. Thank you both. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Stephanie. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Well, that was fun. I mean, that was fun. And you're right. You brought up a good point that they're bringing people and kids into the industry.
Absolutely, they are. Absolutely. They're so realistic. They're so realistic, and there's such a great company behind them, and the excitement, and they're doing what a lot of associations are trying to do.
Right. Speaking of associations and what they're trying to do, are you all quarter horses? What do you
we
down there?
We are now. When I first started training for outside horses, we'd take anything. We rescue thoroughbreds to quarter horses, whatever. And I loved it, and it really helped me tune back down to the quarter horse, because I was raised with quarter horses. And on the ranch here, we breed and raise our own now quarter horses. We do have one Clydesdale. And he's a pretty cool guy. And my wife saw him, and we were going to rescue this horse, and we did. And he serves his purpose. I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to figure it out.
It's entertainment. That's what they are. They're entertainment.
Yeah, conversation piece. But but it's fun. But it's now all quarter horses. But before, man, I loved any horse. I still do. Are you showing? I used to show a lot, train a lot, do the clinics, but I just don't have time now with the shows and speaking and everything else we do. But we still get out there a little bit, and rope and sort and pin a little bit.
Do you miss it?
We still cowboy though. We ranch every day. So
do you have cattle and everything on your ranch?
Out in West Texas, at the place out there, we do. We sure do.
Yeah.
Huh. I love the lifestyle. But just being with that horse, the horse has always saved me more than I've saved it, for sure. And that's why, we just quarter horses. We were in the racing industry a little bit with quarter horses, and my dad was a roper, and he roped for a long time, and it's just generational.
So that's a good question. I want to ask you. Standardbred racing is on its way out. I mean, there are less and less tracks, and it's sad, but that's what's happening. Do you see quarter horse racing hanging in there? Is it gonna, or?
Man, we haven't been. I don't know. It was so big for so long and so great. And when we were in it, the family was in it. It was in the 80s and early 90s, and it was such a big deal. But we haven't been in it that long, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I mean, even thoroughbred racing obviously is shrinking, because of the number of tracks and everything. The dollar amount's not shrinking at this point, but the number of tracks and the places for the people who are at the lower levels is shrinking.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. It just makes it harder for everybody to play. It's just a certain level has to play to be able to have the chance to win.
So you're training horses for people now, and you've been doing it for quite a while. What's happening in the industry? What do you see as the trend now?
It's funny. It's kind of all over the place. I don't see anything specific. Our interns are coming in. They've never rode a horse before or anything with the horse. And now they're taking off. They're hitting the colleges and they're riding for their universities, which is really neat to see. As far as the trend between the breeds, it's just they kind of waffle back and forth of who's the most popular, But with the quarter horse, I think they're trying. The American Paint Horse Association, they have the new offices in Fort Worth. They're doing a great job marketing the paint horse around the world. And Quarter Horse Association's doing a good job getting back in Amarillo as far as the response times and getting the papers out quicker and really being more customer oriented. It's great to see that. So I see them being more customer oriented.
Well, that's right. And the associations are being forced to do that now, aren't they?
They have to do that because there's so many people leaving. But, they listened and the customer base is what their focus is. That's what's going to keep everybody in business for sure.
And they're being forced to deal with social media, which they've never had to deal with before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to see, it's kind of like the Breyer, we were talking about. It reaches people that we couldn't. Or they don't drive by a horse place and want to go take lessons because it's kind of intimidating. To drive up, see a bunch of people on horses, you never even saddle one up.
Right.
But you start watching the videos and seeing social media and seeing who you can go to, it brings people in. So that's helped us.
What have you learned doing your show?
How hard it is, and 3,000 is a big number.
You only have 2,930 to go.
Oh my! I can't even count that high. It's a lot of work, but I love it. I love talking to people and meeting people that I would never have done, just in a normal day. And it is welcoming because all of a sudden we're in somebody's home or in their studio or in their barn or something, and we're talking to them. I love that part. And, we really try and do our podcast. So when someone watches it, whether they're a novice or experienced, they can enjoy the show, at least one part of it. And I love it. It's a lot of hard work, but we make a lot of friends, so it's worth it.
Well, that is you, and you get to talk to people you would never talk to.
Absolutely.
Like I'd have never met you.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's terrible. It kind of makes me sad in a way that we wouldn't have met, but now it's like we're friends forever. It's so easy to talk, but you're right.
I don't know if you followed it, but last year we did a 5-week road trip. So we took the RV and we went to 14 states and we stayed at listener farms.
Very cool.
All through the 14 states over 5 weeks, we camped at their farms all the way across the country. And it was really cool. I mean, it was so exciting. It was exciting for them because, they've been listening to us for 10 years and we're showing up in their driveway, right? So, we ate a lot of good food and we met listeners. We had hundreds of listeners across the eastern part of the country. And it was truly an experience. And it was something that I've always wanted to try, and COVID kind of put a nix to it the previous year. Mm-hmm. And the RV was the way to do it. And actually staying at their farms was a whole nother level, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What was the response like when you would pull up the drive of a listener that welcomed you into the ranch?
They were pretty freaked out when they'd hear you talk, because with us, it's all podcast. So it's all audio. Mm-hmm. And when they'd hear your voice, then they'd get a little freaked out that we were actually there. And of course, they'd all have dinners planned and, and then invite other listeners over. And for us, it was just, we got to see our listeners where they lived. We got to meet their horses. We got to see their farms. And there was everything from multi-million-dollar farms in Aiken, that were absolutely stunning, to, just backyard farms and, like the rest of us have.
Yeah.
But it was just really cool. And then we met listeners in Michigan at a campground. That's the one where we almost died because a tornado went through. But we had stories to tell, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
But it was really cool. I would do it again. We're talking about doing it more toward the West Coast, but that's actually going to have to be a longer trip. 5 weeks was barely enough to do the East Coast.
Cool.
Yeah, but I would definitely do it again. It was so much fun for us to meet everybody.
Yeah, that's the best part of what we do. Or for me, I mean, it's just talking to the, like I was saying earlier on social media, when people message us or send us a question or just anything, just say hello. I love that. It's like, wow, somebody's listening. This is great.
Well, and you learn, we have such a diverse, you do too. We have such a diverse group of listeners, everything from professional riders down to somebody who has a horse in the backyard that hasn't ridden in 10 years, but just loves hearing about horses. Yeah. So it's just a little bit of everything. And that really was evident on this trip. That's where we really learned that we have such a diverse group of listeners. And the other thing that we've learned over the years, and you probably have too, is they're all smarter than us. They're like doctors and scientists. And, I can't tell you how many doctors we stayed with. And I was like, why do you listen to our nonsense?
I love that. Why in the world?
We think it's their downtime because listening to us, they don't have to think at all. Right?
Yeah, in the real world, I'll be paying them sitting in their waiting room.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But that's what makes podcasting so cool. It is accessible to everybody.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And you probably have listeners sometimes that surprise you. You're like, I'm surprised that person, who does that would listen to me.
All the time. Yes. I'm surprised they'll even come on the show to tell you the truth, but
yeah, but I mean, people know who you are too.
Yeah, so we're really blessed, and we try and do a good show for sure. But it's so much fun. You never know. I saw your show and I liked it, and it's such a great feeling. But then you're like, man, I'm going to try even harder. Somehow I'm going to do something else a little bit better to make you want to come back.
And that's why they come back, is because you're constantly trying to improve it.
Always.
And that's why, yeah.
Always.
Well, we are going to be in Texas, so I hope we get to meet you out there.
Absolutely.
Get to see
Absolutely.
you.
So Dallas. So we'll drive up to Dallas. That's just
that's a little bit of a drive from where you are, isn't it?
It's about 3.5, 4 hours, but come see you and have a cup of coffee.
Texas,
we'll do that.
Texas, it's like next door.
Yeah, it's not too far. Yeah.
Well, let's remind everybody where they can find you again.
Absolutely. Cowboy Entrepreneur. Any social media sites, Cowboy Entrepreneur, YouTube, Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
And I host Horses in the Morning. And the Horse Radio Network, by the way, has 21 shows now. So if you want to learn about anything pretty much with horses, we have a show to cover it. So head on over to horseradionetwork.com is where you find all of those. Scott, this has been fun. Thanks for doing this. And thanks to Elizabeth.
Absolutely. As Elizabeth, put this together for us, it was your idea. And thank you so much.
Well, let's do it again.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
What does the WeatherBug app tell you?
My commute will be a doozy today.
Pack my allergy meds.
Lightning. Pick up a pizza, not a tennis racket.
With more free map layers than any other weather app, WeatherBug tells you more of what you need to know to prepare you for the unpredictable. Discover why over 10 million users choose WeatherBug.
Maybe it's a commute to the couch day.
Download the WeatherBug app today for free.
It's time to make the Tri-City Center in Redlands a regular part of your weekly shopping experience. Tri-City is home to a wide assortment of quality businesses, including the all-new Ocean Aquarium.